Welcome, and thanks for joining me. Today, we're going all the way back to the very beginning. We're diving into a story of creation that's also a blueprint for humanity, a test of obedience, and a look at the dramatic consequences that shaped, well, everything that came after. Using only the source text, we're going to unpack how this foundational story defines not just a world, but the entire relationship between the creator and the created.
Okay, let's just start right here. This isn't just an opening line, it's a huge declaration of origin. It establishes one single actor, God, as the prime mover behind all of existence. It sets a definitive starting point for the entire cosmic and human story that's about to unfold.
So, what's really interesting is that the story doesn't kick off with a character's journey or a big conflict. Nope. It begins with the actual construction of the universe, and it's all laid out in this very distinct, step-by-step process of bringing order out of chaos.
Now, this slide really maps out that methodical process described in the text. It's fascinating. You start with an Earth that was, and I quote, without form and void. Then, over 6 distinct periods, everything is systematically put into its place, from something as fundamental as light all the way to complex life, with humanity being the final piece of the puzzle. And here we have the grand finale. It's all done, a complete and perfect world. The work is finished, it's judged to be very good, and that seventh day is set aside, introducing this rhythm of work and rest right into the fabric of time itself.
All right, let's move into Act 2 of this story. The camera, so to speak, zooms way in from that huge cosmic scale to something really personal. We're now focused on the first humans and their life in this specially prepared place, the Garden of Eden.
This is such a key detail. Humanity's first purpose isn't just to, kick back and enjoy the scenery. It's active stewardship. The text is very clear their role is to dress it and to keep it, which frames them as caretakers of this perfect creation, not just residents.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the central dynamic in the garden. I mean, look at the balance here. On one side, you have almost total freedom, total abundance, and on the other, one single, crystal clear, absolute rule. It is the ultimate test of obedience, set in a world where you lack absolutely nothing.
But you know how stories go. Just as quickly as this perfect state is established, a conflict is introduced. A third party shows up on the scene, and a choice gets made that's going to permanently change the course of the human story and its relationship with the creator.
So you can see exactly how it all went down, step by step. It all starts with doubt, with God's word being questioned, and that leads to a reevaluation based on personal desire. Suddenly, the tree looks like a source of wisdom. The act of disobedience follows, and the consequence is instant and profound, a whole new awareness of self, followed by shame and fear.
So for the man, the consequence hits him right where he lives, his purpose. The very ground he was supposed to take care of will now fight back against him. His work is no longer going to be easy cultivation. It's going to be hard labor, a constant struggle just to survive.
And for the woman, the consequence is just as profound. It transforms one of the most fundamental human experiences. The blessing to be fruitful and multiply is now tied forever to sorrow and pain. It completely changes the act of bringing new life into the world.
And for both of them, the ultimate, inescapable consequence is mortality. The life that was breathed into them is no longer eternal. Their physical existence is now finite, bookended by the very dust they were made from.
And that's it. The verdict is sealed. They're kicked out of the garden, and the finality of it all is emphasized by this number, 2. 2 powerful beings, cherubims, with a flaming sword, are placed to guard the way back to the tree of life. This isn't just an eviction. It's a permanent separation from the source of immortality.
Okay, so we've got the narrative arc, right? Creation, command, fall, and consequence. Now let's pivot and do a little analysis. Based only on these events from the source text, what kind of picture do we get of the character of God?
Well, the first thing that's crystal clear is that God's power is absolute. Creation doesn't happen through some big cosmic struggle. It happens simply by speaking. God says, "Let there be light," and bam, there's light. This establishes a being whose will and reality are basically the same thing.
And what's so fascinating is that we don't just get a list of divine characteristics, we actually see them in action. We see omnipotence in the act of creation, goodness when it's all declared good, and of course justice in the punishments. But
And this is important. We also see mercy when God provides them with clothes of skin before sending them out.
All right, for our final section, let's look at the framework for human life that gets built here. In these opening chapters, the text lays out a really clear set of original rules for our relationships with God, with each other, and with the world itself.
So this table kind of breaks it all down for us. This is the initial blueprint. The relationship with God, it's all about obedience. The relationship between humans, it's about family, about being fruitful and multiplying. The relationship with the earth is one of dominion, but also stewardship. And even diet is spelled out. In the beginning, it was strictly vegetarian.
And you really have to get this hierarchy to understand the worldview being presented here. It's central to everything that follows. There is a clear order of authority and responsibility. God is at the top, humanity acts as stewards in the middle, and the rest of creation is under their care.
And man, it does not take long for this framework to get tested and broken. In the very next generation, in the story of Cain and Abel, humanity's responsibility to one another is thrown into question with this defiant, just haunting phrase, which is then followed by the first murder.
And that's where we're going to end it for today. We've walked through the foundational story of creation, we've laid out the first set of rules, and we've detailed the consequences of disobedience. We are left with a world that has been forever changed, and a huge question hanging in the air that sets the stage for everything to come.